Gold, of course, has been on a very sharp tear here over the last month or so. Again, very similar as we talked about here, this kind of catch-up trade within other assets. So here's what you need to know before the bell. The markets, again, as we said, have just been trading within this particular range, and we haven't moved out of that. And so as we continue to look forward here, we're going to see if the markets can break above that. And one of the interesting things coming up is that April 15th, right around the corner, that's right, got to file taxes. Now, normally the market gets a bump after April 15th because of the fact that people get tax refunds. This year may be different, though, because come April 15th, the tax laws that were in place, the tax cut laws from 2017, have all expired. So a lot of people are finding out they owe taxes this year where they haven't owed taxes previously. And so we may see a bit of difference here where people aren't getting as much of a refund back. Maybe we don't get as big of a bump, but normally after April 15th, markets typically get a bump into May because of those tax refunds. So people get a check back, they put it in the market, whatever. We'll see what happens here, but that's been kind of the driver. The other big kind of news that's been out there, gold, of course, has been on a very sharp tear here over the last month or so. Again, very similar as we talked about here, this kind of catch-up trade within other assets. And this has really started in earnest about mid-month of March. We saw this kind of very big sharp spike in gold prices. I've seen it in Bitcoin prices, other things. We've seen a rotation in assets to more defensive sectors. Utilities have had a big run. As an example, real estate's had a decent increase. So again, what we saw was right at the end of March was a repositioning in portfolio end of the quarter rebalancing. Again, a lot of that catch-up trade. We'll see now as we start getting into April what happens next. Is this rotation trade going to continue where we get this rotation into equal weighted type names? In other words, the other 493 stocks from the top 7, or will we see a rotation back into those growth names? Growth underperformed rather markedly yesterday, so we'll see if that underperformance of growth continues, and we'll see. But again, that's where we're going to kind of be watching here. Last quarter was kind of the beginning of that rotational trade to a more defensive structure. We'll see if that continues here, but again, the market remains fairly well balanced at this point. The number of stocks trading above their 50-day moving average have increased. The number of stocks above their 200-day moving average have increased. Sentiment is now back to extremely high levels, and household allocations, and this is according to Goldman Sachs, household allocations to equities are now back to the highest level we've seen since the dot-com crisis. So again, everybody's extremely bullish about this market right now. That's okay. Earnings season starts next week in earnest, so we'll start really kind of seeing if earnings can support the narrative. But again, you have to understand is that the kind of the speculative push in the market is getting fairly extreme here. So just something to be aware of and kind of keep a watch on. We will get into a correctional phase probably this summer, but at least for the next month or so, everything seems to kind of be okay. But that's going to be kind of the issue coming up is to watch for. That's what you need to know before the bell this morning.